Welcome to the Mindset Minute. I am your host, Caden, and on today's episode, we bring you the Gold Star Ride with guest Tony Token Squid Price. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. I am excited to introduce this amazing guest to you. I wanted to say before we jump into the episode here that if you are looking for help, if you know a Gold Star family that could use some help and representation, please contact Gold Star Ride. And without further ado, let's jump into the show. All right, welcome to the next episode of the Mindset Minute. I am your host, Caden Mattinson, and today we bring to you a amazing guest. I'm excited to interview Mr. Tony Price, or known as...
I'm bashful. That's why I'm wearing sunglasses.
I'm bashful. I love it. Love it. Tony, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Hey man, call me Token Squid.
Token Look, Squid, I got you.
It's printed right here on my vest.
On the vest.
Token Squid.
Got it.
Yeah, you get all kinds of things printed on my vest. I don't know how many of your listeners are bikers. Do you think there's like two?
Probably, yeah. Probably a fair couple.
So there might be two or three people that understand things like patches and vest and bandana and
yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the bandana, this is part of my uniform. Yeah, I was just upstairs. I grabbed my vest. I put on my vest, and my stepson was up there, and he's looking at me, going, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, I got to wear my uniform.
It gotta be in uniform."
But we're casual today, so there's no tie.
So that's amazing. I love it.
So yeah, I wear red every day. The movement is to wear red on Fridays. Have you heard of this movement?
I have heard of that. I have heard of that.
So we wear red on Fridays to remember everyone deployed. That's military, men and women who are deployed. That's why we wear red. I wear red every day because you know what? They're deployed every day.
Every day.
They're not just deployed on Friday. So I wear something red every day. If it's not my bandana, well, we got to ask the question, why am I not wearing the bandana? I'm not wearing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you wear the bandana? What would be the significance of that?
A lot of people think I wear the bandana for the same reason that Hulk Hogan wore a bandana, but that's not true.
No,
that's not true. Now, my biceps are not quite as big as Hulk Hogan's, but I have a head full of hair. That's the big deal. So Hulk Hogan did it because he was bald on top. I am not bald on top. So we're going in the wrong direction here. Sorry about that.
No, you're great. You're great.
I know you got questions for me. That's
what I got a few questions for you. And so tell me about, when we first started talking about having you on the episode here, we started talking about mental health, especially, we start talking about mindset and things like that. Will you tell us just a little bit about how you got everything started?
Since you want to start with mental health, let's take the how we got started and move it to the back burner for just a moment. Let's talk a little bit about mental health.
Let's talk about it.
What does the Gold Star Ride Foundation do? Right? I'm the executive director of the Gold Star Ride Foundation. I can prove it. See? So
that's beautiful.
I should have just went like this.
That's beautiful.
Gold Star Ride Foundation. I'm the executive director of the Gold Star Ride Foundation, which in layman's terms means I'm the guy who does all the work. What is the work of the Gold Star Ride Foundation? First and foremost, we are in the business of remembering fallen heroes, the guys who gave their life in the military. We're in the business of remembering them. And we do this with the families, the immediate family members of somebody who's lost in the military. And we do it on a motorcycle. We do it in person. So it's not like I just ride around my own block and then do a selfie or something and say, yay, we're remembering this veteran in New Mexico when I'm in Minnesota.
Right.
No, it's not like that at all. We get on the motorcycle and we drive to New Mexico and we collect as many motorcycles as we can along the way. And we make a big parade for the fallen heroes family. That's what we do. And in doing this, a couple of quick bullet points is I'm moving right into the mental health
Right.
portion. That's right. So we
Right.
just need a couple of bullet points to stand on, and then I'm going to tell you a mental health story. Okay.
Perfect.
A couple of bullet points. I've been doing this for 6 years. Okay.
Excellent.
I mean, I've been riding my motorcycle for 6 years. I'm
Okay.
on, I'm on my second motorcycle. We do have a third one. We have another one that we keep in the garage, and we bring it out for parades and shows only, because it's what I lovingly call our $5,000 motorcycle with a $15,000 paint job.
Right.
Incidentally, took first place at the Donnie Smith Bike Show last year. Oh, I got the award. It's somewhere over there. Anyway, first place Donnie Smith Bike Show, 35th annual Donnie Smith. There was over 1,000 motorcycles.
Wow.
So we took first place, and that's something we're really, really proud of. But anyway, in the last 6 years, I've logged over 141,000 miles. I visited all of the lower 48 states at least 4 times each. Most of them 9 or 10 times. Uh, I have this is where I've been. The red line tells you where I've been.
That's a printout of everywhere you've been.
The red line indicates all of the highways that I've driven on. A lot of those highways I've driven on 8, 9, 10 times, because I've been to Washington, D.C., which is down over here. I've been there 5 years in a row on Memorial Day for the protest, for the MIA-POW protest. Anyway, as you can see from that, you could throw a dart, and wherever it hits, I've been within 100 miles of wherever the dart hits that you throw on that map. And the last bullet point is, I have personally met now in 6 years, I have personally met with 540 Gold Star families. And what that equates to, again, going back to layman's terms, get a little street lingo going here. What that means is that's the equivalent of 2 funerals a week for 6 years.
2 funerals a week.
2 funerals a week for 6 years. Now, granted, I don't go to the funerals as a rule. I don't go to the funerals of the fallen heroes. I go visit the families, and they've all had a funeral, and we get to relive that. So to say that I've been to 2 funerals a week for the last 6 years is not overstretching the definition.
Right.
And those are the military funerals. That doesn't count the other funerals.
Yeah.
I was asked to speak at the funeral of the oldest Gold Star mom in the country. She died at the age of 105 years, 8 months.
Wow.
She asked me to speak at her funeral. It was a personal, I'm not going to live very much longer. Would you mind? I got to also honor and meet her. She was family number 500, right? We're up to 540, right? She was family number 500. It was on her 105th birthday that I got to meet her. So incredible things that I get to experience. So I'm on one of these red lines. We're going to get to the mental health story right now. Okay. I'm on one of these red lines. I've been riding for 5 weeks without taking a break, and it turned out later on, I did the math on it, and I averaged 307 miles a day, 7 days a week for 8 weeks. I was on week number 5 of that motorcycle ride. Okay.
Right.
And I got to meet with 64 different Gold Star families around the country on that one motorcycle ride.
Wow.
To date, I'm up to ride number 60. My next one will be ride number 61 that I've done again in 6 years. So I'm in the middle of this ride. 5 weeks into it, it's late. It's July 31st. It's like super hot in the whole country. There's like, even Alaska was
huge heat wave. Yeah,
huge heat wave. Anyway, I get an email. Some lady sends me an email, and she says, and by the way, we always accept when a Gold Star family reaches out to us. We'll do our best to communicate with them. We never reach out to them first.
Okay.
That's just improper. So we never reach out to them first. And I've met some very interesting Gold Star families. Among them, one of the most famous ones was Pat Tillman. I don't know if you know the story of Pat Tillman. Your listeners know the story.
I was going to say, do my listeners know the story of Pat Tillman?
Real quick interruption in my mental health story. Pat Tillman was, I think he was a linebacker.
He was a linebacker, yeah.
He was a linebacker for the Arizona Cardinals, doing $15 million a year as a football player.
Yep.
And then 9/11 happened. And he hung up his Arizona Cardinals jersey and he went and put on an Army Rangers uniform. And he went over to the Middle East to fight for Americans. And he got killed over there. I got to meet his mother. So if you're anywhere near the Phoenix area, there's an American Legion post on the north side of Phoenix called the Pat Tillman American Legion. I have actually gone there. I've been there personally and speaking to the membership there on 2 different occasions. So I get around.
That's amazing. I love it.
I get around. As a matter of fact, that's what can't remember his name. That's what Hercules said. The guy who played Hercules.
Yeah.
The TV show.
Uh-huh.
You remember his name?
I don't remember his name.
Kevin Sorbo. There it is. Kevin Sorbo. If you go to our website, goldstarride.org, you'll see a video of Kevin Sorbo saying, yeah, I met this guy in Colorado. This guy gets around. So that's my Kevin Sorbo impression. Anyway,
that's amazing.
Middle of this ride, late July, I get an email from this woman who says, you got to come and meet my best friend. She's a Gold Star mom. And I said, okay, set it up. I'll be in your town. I'll be there in 3 days. So set it up. We'll have a lunch and I'll come by and we'll do what we can. And I showed up that day with, I think there was about 5 or 6 motorcycles that joined me. I'm the one who does the riding all across the country. And then as I get closer and closer to the Gold Star families and the families that we meet, other motorcycles will come and join, right? So I think we had about 6 motorcycles that joined us that particular day. And I got to fast forward this because, I mean, it was 3 hours long, our luncheon. But at one point in there, she said, she dropped her fork and looked at me and said, I just don't understand why my son would take his own life. And I immediately said, he didn't take his own life. That was a sniper's bullet from 7,000 miles away.
Right.
And she burst into tears. Everybody that was at the table, there was a dozen people there. Everybody was in tears after that comment. I wish I could take authorship for that comment, but I was actually quoting somebody else. Somebody else said that before me. Anyway, after a little bit, we dried our eyes and went back to eating and everything. And the meeting ended, and we hugged our goodbyes. And I swung my leg over the motorcycle and down the road I went. And the short version of this story is 7 days later, I was 2,600 miles farther down the road. I had met with another 16 different families. And I checked into this Roach Motel. That's what I call them, the Roach Motels. I would stay in the lousiest hotels I could find for the simple reason, if our military is sleeping in the dirt, I think I can put up with a shitty hotel.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of my mindset. Not that I have never stayed in a 5-star hotel. I have, and they're wonderful. But when I'm on the mission,
but when you're on the mission, it makes sense to represent the military as they are.
I go to check my email, and I get an email from the friend, the best friend of that Gold Star mom that I had met with, that I just told you about.
Yeah.
I had met with the mom, or excuse me, I met with the mom and I got an email from the friend. And the email that I got a week later said, very simply, your visit here was the greatest thing could have ever happened. Because later that day, she went home and tore up her own suicide note.
Wow.
That was a few years ago. She and I are still friends. Well, I just spoke to her, I think, 3 weeks ago. She and I are still friends. We're still hanging out. She's still going strong. She's still doing, whatever she feels is necessary for God and country. She's still being an active person she found a way to bridge the sadness or to turn the sadness into a tool that she could use to become a better person, that she could face the challenges of the day in a better way. So that's your mental health. That's your mental health story of the day, parable of the day. We'll call it that.
No, that's amazing, because seriously, especially in the work that you do, that's so important to find the light where you can.
Yeah, that from a mental health standpoint, just kind of harping those words for just another minute or two. That was the only time I got an email message from somebody that said, you saved this person from a suicide. That was the only written proof that I have that I've done that. but I would venture to guess that there's probably one in every state.
I was going to say there's probably quite a few.
Probably one in every state. And that's okay. I'm not trying to put notches in my bedpost of the people I stopped from suicide. That's not what we're about. What we're about is remembering the people who gave up their life so you could have your podcast.
Exactly. So that we can have people in the country that, use their voice for whatever purpose. You
Yeah,
got to remember that
I don't
a
get to
service
get
member.
on your podcast if it wasn't for the veterans. If it wasn't
Absolutely.
if it wasn't for our military. And anybody who wants to challenge that, I'll be more than happy to go toe to toe with you. Because the truth of the matter is, if we don't have our military, we're all speaking a different language. And depending on how far back you go, we'll change whatever language we're going to be speaking. Because
Right.
if you go back 75 years, we're all speaking German.
Right.
If it wasn't for what the U.S. military did in World War II, Germany was going to take over England.
Yeah.
Until
Oh, yeah.
the United States came in and came to their rescue. It was
Yep.
just the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. The same thing can be said about Korea in the
I was going to
50s.
say Korea is the next big one.
I don't know if we'd ever be speaking Vietnamese because we kind of went there. So that's a different set of, that's a different dialogue. However, but we've had things in the Middle East, the Desert Storm, which is where I got all my stuff. Up here someplace.
All the
I'm looking at backwards. There it is, right here.
yeah.
That's my military rank. So
And
I'm a
that's-
veteran myself. and
You're
that's a
for
big-
yourself.
Yeah, and that's a big part of, and it's not very far off the mental health thing for me to talk about that for just a moment.
No,
Because
not at all.
I don't know if you're a veteran.
I am not.
I assume not.
Yep.
I don't know how many of your listeners are veterans. But for the sake of percentages, 94% of them across the board in the United States, population in the United States, 94% never put on a uniform. That's a huge differential. Only 6% of the population ever. That means Korea, Vietnam, Grenada. That means Beirut, Desert Storm, the second Gulf War, all of Afghanistan, Iraq, all of that shit.
Yeah.
You put it all together, and we've only got a grand total of 6%. It's not a very big.
That's not a big number.
There's a lot of things that civilians don't get an opportunity to learn that military get an opportunity to learn.
Right.
So let me kind of try to do this with street language in a way that you'll understand, that everybody will understand.
Perfect.
Okay. I was Navy, so it was a little bit different for the Navy than it was for the Army and the Marines.
Right.
And even the Air Force for that matter. But when the Army and the Marines and the Navy SEALs or whatever, when they're going into battle, and by the way, battle in a war is so inhumane that anybody who does that and comes back without nightmares and comes back without post-traumatic stress was a little bit screwed up when they went in.
Yeah.
You have the human mind cannot conjure the evil that exists in war. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start. We'll start by putting that out. Okay. Now let's say that I'm going off to war. I'm going off to war, and I'm walking right next to this guy, and I'm walking right next to this guy. And you know what? We do everything together. We eat, we sleep, we shit. We do everything together, and we are the best friends that any of the three of us will ever know. And that continues down that line. It continues down that line. These two guys are the best friends I will ever have in my life. And my job going into battle is to keep them alive. Do everything I can do to keep them alive. Even if it means I die, they live. I got to do everything I can do to keep them alive. And it's so cliche. We've seen it in all our movies. Everybody's seen it in the movies where there's somebody on a battlefield and he's dying, he's mortally wounded, and he pulls out a little letter and he's shaking and it's bloody and it's all over and he hands it to his best friend, because I just explained to you that they're best friends, right?
Yep.
And he says, give this to my wife or give this to my mother. Those are the two. Nobody ever pulls it up and says, give this to my husband. Not that there's anything wrong with that necessarily. That's a different conversation for a different day. Uh, but it's a cliche. Give this, and it's a love letter saying goodbye.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Right. The other thing that they talk about on that battlefield, when they're on that battlefield and one of them is dying, they will say to each other, take care of my family, or I
Right.
will take care of your family. And there exists today. It's extremely difficult to find because they like to stay hidden, right? They like to stay
Oh
hidden.
yeah.
But there are a lot of widows in this country raising kids, getting money every month from somebody that has no business giving them money every month.
Yep.
But it was their best friend on the battlefield. They're taking care of their best friend. They're taking care of their best friend's family. It's not that uncommon for in the military for one soldier, and I mean use the word soldier loosely. It means Marine, Airman, and
Right.
Sailor. And
Yep.
it's not uncommon for one soldier to take care of another soldier's family. It's not uncommon for one soldier to marry another soldier's wife. That
Yep.
happens too.
Yep.
And it's part and parcel of the same thing. Now, listen, my job is to take care of you. And as a coincidence, you're really attractive and I'm in love with you. So let's get married because I'm going to take care of you either way.
Yep.
I mean, these kind of things, I'm not making this stuff up. I don't have that great an imagination.
No.
These are real things that real people do. And this is all part and parcel of the mental health issues.
Right.
Why am I going to get on a motorcycle at 6 o'clock in the morning so I can ride 450 miles today so I can go visit a family that I don't know and it's 45 degrees and raining? Why am I going to do that? Because if I don't do it, no one will call me up and say, you chicken shit, why didn't you do that? No one will call me on it. No one will say I did the wrong thing if I don't go.
No,
but I go anyway.
Right.
I go to take care of him, and I go to take care of him. I go to take care of their families, even though I never met them. We have something in common. We served, and we have something in common.
And that creates its own. It creates its own camaraderie. So I didn't serve, but my father did.
Oh, you know what? Is your father still around?
He is.
This is what he wants for his next birthday. You know what that means? You know what that means? Look, I wear one. There's mine right here.
That is fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah. This is one of the ways we raise money for the Gold Star Ride Foundation. We get $10 for these cute little patches. We get
Perfect.
15 of these, but they're in color. So anyhow, and for $20, look, for $20, brand new hat right here. For $20, you can get a hat that says my DD can kick your MBA's ass. And why did your dad want that patch? And why can't you have it?
So the
two very good questions.
I was like, the DD-214 is his discharge.
Exactly. And you don't have one. So
Correct.
You can't wear that patch.
Correct.
And your dad is somebody who has a DD-214.
Yep.
And never says it out loud, but firmly believes in the back of his head that he's smarter than anybody who went to college.
Oh, by far. Yeah. He says that out loud.
Bringing more to the table. The truth of the matter is, if you served in the military, you're going to bring more to the table anyway.
Oh, yeah. 100% agreed. 100%
yeah. You know what? My wife never served in the military. As a matter of fact, my wife is an immigrant to this country, which is another subject altogether we're not going to get on today. But immigration it's a thing. You know what? I had a drink 3 days ago. I stumbled up to a bar. My wife and I went to a restaurant and there was no place to sit, so we sat at the bar. And the guy next to me at the bar, turns out he was a 38-year Army veteran.
Wow.
Chief Master Sergeant, E9, as high as you could go. Been in the Army for 38 years. You know what? Born and raised in Puerto Rico. It's a thing. It's a thing. One of my dear friends is a Lieutenant Colonel, United States Marine Corps, retired. He was a pilot. And well, actually, he's still a pilot. He's flying airplanes for one of the major airlines now. But he was born and raised in Panama.
And
so you don't necessarily have to be born in this country to go defend this country.
Right.
Anyhow, we digress.
Well, and I don't think we do right now because that's so important for people to understand that, you know, those of us that have not served would not ever understand what goes on inside the military or on the battlefield. There's no way for to us to be able to
That's
comprehend it.
right. You can watch Private Ryan 100 times, you still won't quite get it.
Yeah.
Whatever that I watched Private Ryan a couple of times, and I'll tell you, they're pretty close.
It's
That opening scene is pretty close.
you're
Um,
and you're not the first one to tell me that either.
uh, but you still don't quite get it because you get to walk out of that movie theater after you watched it. Those guys that were on that were literally on that beach, they didn't get to
They
walk
didn't
out
get to
2
walk
hours.
away.
No, they're still in it, and they were in it on average for a year.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is why no one who ever served in the military will ever take a knee for the national anthem. It'll
Ever.
never happen. Never,
Ever.
ever. I don't know everybody that served in the military,
But
I'm pretty sure
I can say pretty confidently that
take a knee and
you are accurate.
to the national anthem. The national anthem supersedes racism and any other problem that we have in our society. Um, Personally, I like to let everybody have an opportunity to prove to me that they're an asshole before I treat them like. But we'll just kind of go from there. That might be another conversation for a different podcast.
No, I love that. That's the beauty of
I've talked to people who are prejudiced. I have. And I said, at what point in your life do you think it's okay to think that guy is not going to be the guy who helps you when you're in the deepest,
Right.
darkest hour of your life? You don't know.
right.
You don't know. There's who has time to be prejudiced in any way? It's
Right.
just ridiculous. There's just no time for that. I mean,
No.
we only get to go around once,
Exactly.
right? And some of us don't get to go around as long as others. Well, that's another story altogether. Were we going to talk about my guardian angels on this podcast? I forgot.
Not on. I mean, definitely if that's something you want to bring up on this one, you totally can. But no, this one. So you what was it? What was the driving factor? What was it for you that said, I need to start this organization? I need to start helping these
There
families.
you go. Yeah, we started with that question. I said, let's put it on the back burner for a minute. And now is an appropriate time for us to discuss it. It's
Yeah.
really it's the military connection that I bring is already been we've already described it. We've
Right.
talked about that. However, I was a veteran for 23 years without knowing what a Gold Star family was.
Wow.
I didn't know. And a bunch of guys, I bumped into a bunch of guys on a golf course. They said, "You ride?" I said, "Yeah, I ride." They said, "We're going to go do a ride tomorrow. You want to join us?" I said, "Sure, I'll join you." Okay, meet up at 9 o'clock at such and such gas station. I said, "Okay." I get there, and me and the wife went together. And we're tooling down the road. There's a big group of motorcycles tooling down the road. And, I don't know if you've ever done that or not. I don't know.
I've not done it, but I have supported rides.
Yeah, I don't know what your personal experience is, but here's the dealio. When you're doing the ride, you're expecting to go to a bar. Unless you know better, unless you're in on the backstory. So I'm just tooling along. We're just riding, having fun. I'm thinking we're going to a bar.
Yeah.
2 hours later, we're on the end of a cul-de-sac. We filled up the whole street with all these motorcycles, and everybody's standing in this one front yard. And the spokesperson for the group went up to the door, opened the door, brought out a woman who had with her like a 4 or 5-year-old child in her arms and a 7-year-old child hanging onto her leg. And the kids were scared to death. It's like, we got 75 bikers here.
Wow.
There's a lot of, you put 75 bikers together, there's a lot of bandanas, there's a lot of leather, there's a lot of smell of burnt oil and burnt rubber, there's a lot of cigarettes, tattoos, earrings, all of this stuff that is designed to scare the crap out of people. It's all out in front of you. And incidentally, you will you'll come to understand that bikers are the single greatest generosity group in the United States. Nobody gives, as a group, nobody gives as much as bikers. Okay. Anyway, the woman who came out the door was a Gold Star widow. She lost her husband. And the long story of it was um, she married her high school sweetheart who went into the Army on the buddy system. And they were over in the Middle East together. And the buddy stepped on an IED and he became that fine pink mist that they talk about.
Oh, no.
Covered him. And the short story is, again, he's in the VA hospital in Los Angeles. And they said, we got 60 days for post-traumatic stress. So don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. And he lasted, I think, 6 days on the street. And then he took his own life. And in those days, it was a long time ago. And in those days, the U.S. government considered suicide to be destruction of government property.
Wow.
Yeah, you're in the Army now. The government owns
The
you.
government owns you. You are government property.
Right. Now they've changed that since then. But at this particular time, in this particular place, we're looking at a Gold Star mom right here, or your Gold Star widow, excuse me. Gold Star widow right here, who's looking at her only choice is to be a welfare mom. So this group of bikers that was all there, they opened up their wallets and they put her back to college, got her a college degree. Now she's a productive member of her society.
That's amazing.
She's a contributing factor in her neighborhood. And I wish her all the greatest. I haven't seen her in 13 or 14 years, but it's a pretty cool thing. And I decided that day at that time in that place that the rest of my life was going to be dedicated to doing something for Gold Star families.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And now here you are, 140,000 miles in. All the
This is an adult program, right? I am allowed to drink my my adult beverage on.
Yes. If somebody does not know of your organization, how can they find more?
That somebody should get a copy of this book. This book is called Yours Very Sincerely and Respectfully. And you'll note down here, it's got my name on it. You know what else? I've come to find out, if you look in the back in the pictures, I'm in almost all of them. So yes, there's proof. I wrote this book.
That's amazing. That's
amazing.
So
this book is available on Amazon. It's available at barnesandnoble.com, and it's also available at goldstarride.org. And in any case, no matter where you get it, if you get it from goldstarride.org, a higher percentage of the book goes to the Gold Star Ride Foundation. But in any case, there's always whatever profit they give up goes to the foundation, which is an official 501c3 charity organization. So everything becomes tax deductible.
Right. Every donation.
There's a business portion of this program too, right?
There is.
So, tax deductible.
Tax deductible. Yes.
Tax deductible. Yeah.
We love that. Well, Tony, we are running down on time. We want to definitely let you get to your next show as well. But again, Tony, Token Squid, thank you so much for being here on the show with us.
What didn't I say? I said everything, right? Get these at the website?
Yes, get those on the website.
Oh, there we
I
go.
will be posting a link to the website so that you can find that easily. We'll be uploading any images that you sent as well to this episode.
Okay. In closing, we have to make sure we announce a couple of things.
Absolutely.
The sixth annual Laugh Ride. We do one fundraising activity per year in the state of Minnesota. We call it our Laugh Ride. Laugh is short for long ass fundraiser. And see, I get to do this too. See the round ones? There's two round ones. They're kind of on top of each other.
Yes.
Those are iron butt patches. And I know there's 3 guys out in your audience that are going, I ride motorcycle. I wonder if this guy's got any iron butt patches. Yes, I have 2. The first one I got from, we did 1,014 miles in 21 hours.
Wow.
That gave us our saddle sore.
Oh, yeah.
1,000 miles in 24 hours. Second one I got was going 1,500 miles in 36 hours. I actually went 1,700 miles in 31 hours, but it qualified.
It does. It does qualify. For sure.
So that's why I got those 2 patches. Anyway, our Laugh Ride, this will be our 6th annual Laugh Ride coming up. It's always the last Saturday in June, and it starts up in Minneapolis. We ride in Minneapolis. So this year we're going to ride I think it's about 110 miles, and we have 7 or 8 Gold Star families that we're going to honor at the end of that ride. And then we're going to have a great big lunch, and then we're going to turn around and ride 110 miles back or so. And I'm talking to people to see if we can have some sort of a concert or party at the end of that, so we can everybody who wants to come who didn't ride the motorcycle can still come and enjoy and have a good time. Anyway, details of that are being updated on our website regularly. Click the link that
Perfect.
says Ride with Us. Anyway, June 28th,
Perfect. June
6th
28th,
annual Laugh Ride.
right there in Minneapolis. We'll make sure that people are aware of that.
Yes, see, in June, you can ride a motorcycle in Minneapolis.
Yes, you can. You
Yeah.
can't very well do that right now.
We got it figured out. Summer lasts 4 days, and that's usually one of.
That's usually right around. All right. Well, Mr. Price, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's my honor. Thank you so much for your service and for the work that you do for these families.
Thanks for being an American worth fighting for.
You are amazing, sir. I hope you have a fantastic 2025.
Thank you.
You have a great day.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys. Peace.
Again, I want to give a shout out and a big thank you to Token Squid, the amazing Tony Price, for being on the show with us, talking about Gold Star Ride, the organization. If you have any questions about that organization, please go to goldstarride.org. That's where you can find any information about the ride. You can find any information about their sponsors, what they're looking for, what they need. And if you have a family that they can represent, that's the best way to contact them as well. Again, guys, I'm so excited to be here with you. We've got another great episode coming up next Monday. We will have quite a few episodes ready to go for you that I'm excited I get to introduce them to you over the coming couple of weeks. As always, if you want more, if you like what you're hearing, please go to all of your podcast favorites, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, all of them. Make sure that you're following us on every platform so that you do not miss a single minute of the Mindset Minute. I'm grateful that you all have been here. Please check in with us. Look for the next episodes. We'll see you when we get back.